Hello and welcome to Uncorked, a podcast where we get raw and real all while under the influence. We are your hosts. I am Madison.
And I am Katie. Thank you guys for joining us. Before we get started, we're going to go ahead and uncork the bottle of wine that we have for this episode. It is the 2019 Freak Show Chardonnay from Michael David Winery, located in Lodi, California. The Chardonnay is crisp and fruit-driven, with tantalizing aromas of juicy apricot, honeycomb, citrus, and toasted caramel. Do you say caramel or caramel?
I say some caramel, but a lot of people say caramel.
Yeah, I usually say caramel, but playful flavors of nectarine, lemon zest, elderflower, and creme brulee dance on the tongue with a hint of vanilla and nutmeg lingering on the finish. All right.
Okay, so on today's episode, we're going to discuss 10 tips or our 10 tips that can help you be productive if you have anxiety or just are having like an off day or something. I wanted to talk about this just as I'm getting older and like going through college and stuff. It took me a while to actually like realize things that I should and could do every day that like actually made me be productive and made me have like a good day or a good week. So I just kind of wanted to give some tips to you guys so you guys can try and implement them and be more productive.
Yeah, same. As I was like going through high school, I realized that I did have anxiety, or didn't realize I had anxiety, but I did have it. And when you do have those bad days, it is hard to be productive because you just want to chill or like lay in bed or but even if you like go get in the shower, that's one thing that you know that you did for the day, and that can make you feel better. So, and those things can add up, and like if you start off with a shower, then just go make sure you brush your hair, go make sure you do your toothbrush, and you can feel accomplished, and that does make you feel better even though you don't want to do it. So, yeah.
Just some starter questions. Do you feel like you could be more productive in your daily life?
Yeah, 100%. It feels like we don't have enough time in the day, but in reality we do. We just, my biggest thing is probably just getting distracted and like maybe just watching TV instead of cleaning or just
and then like an hour
like
goes by and you're like, oh wow, I could have. That's how I am like on the weekends or something. I'm like, oh, I have to do all this homework or I have to do something, but then I'll just like sit on the couch and I'll cook breakfast or like, and then before you know it, like 4 hours have gone by and then you're like, wow, I really didn't do anything.
Yeah, crap. And I like have a TV in my craft room now, so sometimes I will just like zone out on like watching stuff or like watching other crafting videos and instead of actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing or working on orders. That's what I do.
I'll like put on a movie and I'll be like, oh, I'll put on a movie and then I'll just sit here and like do my little like assignments or something, but then I get like completely distracted.
Alrighty. So what are things that make you feel more productive?
I think like if I just wake up and I know what my day is like already going to be like, that like helps me be more productive. Or like if I know that I like accomplished something or like something like I really wanted to do and I got it done, like that helps me be more motivated to keep being productive.
For sure. I think a big thing that's helped me and Nick a lot is we create like checklists or different lists for the day or goals that we want to get done for over the weekend. Or if we know we have a house project that we want to do, I will write down like all the supplies that we need, all of the things we have to do, like steps. And then we like once we cross that off, it just feels so good.
Yeah. Are there things that you like have to do to stay in a routine or things that you do like every morning or something like that?
Oh yeah, I have like a routine every morning, especially with the kids. Like I know I will get Renly started because she's usually in a good mood, and then I'll go get Wyatt and have him get started, and then while they're getting together, I can go start my morning, get like my protein shake and coffee made for the day and like my lunch packed, and just doing those things does like make you feel good.
Yeah.
Because you ever have those mornings where you're just like, it's like all chaos. Out of whack.
And it throws like, everything off. It throws like your whole day, your whole mood, everything goes off. Yeah.
For sure. Do you have things that trigger your stress or anxiety?
I think just if something like random happens throughout the day, or like if I like say like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym and then I'm gonna go to the grocery store, I'm gonna do this. But like if I switch it, if I say like, oh, I'm gonna go to the grocery store before the gym, then I don't go to the gym because it like throws off everything. So then it stresses me out.
Yeah, that.
Or like if someone texts me randomly and they're like, hey, do you want to go get dinner? Or like, hey, do you like, yeah, I'll go. But at the end of the, but then sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, I really should have just done this other thing that I was supposed to do, or
like should have just like stayed home and did laundry or whatever it is. Same. Or like if something happens and, or like say somebody said something off to you and you take it the wrong way, and then you just have anxiety about that the whole rest of the day. And
then you have no motivation to do anything because you're just in like a bad mood. And
you just overthink every little situation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you prioritize self-care?
I try to. I think it's really important to. I try and do it usually on like a Saturday or Sunday. I'll do like a face mask or something, or I'll take like a really longer shower and I'll do like a hair mask or like stuff like that. But I think I should do it more often, or just do like not like a whole day or like a whole thing, but like just like maybe just sitting down for like 30 minutes and like reading like a personal book and not like for school or something, but like or just doing something like that. I should probably do more often.
For sure. I feel like Friday nights are usually like my like care time for me, because we'll do like a movie night, me and Wyatt and Renly, but I usually put her to bed. And then I'll just like get my wine, get my chill time in, check my phone for different things. And then I'll just like chill on those nights because I don't really feel
those are like the best nights. I feel like the nights where like on weekends and stuff, when I like stay at home and I just put on a movie or something, like those are the best.
Yeah. And you feel like your week is like quote over and you can just like relax. So that's usually my days. But I am trying to like work out every night and eat healthier. And that does make me feel a lot better.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get on to the tips. So my first tip is to have a routine. I think this is really important. And like with me, with someone who has like anxiety or depression, like if you have a routine that you do every day, or that you know what's going to happen tomorrow, basically, like that helps you mentally prepare. Like you're like, okay, now I know that I have to go to the gym, or now I know I have to go to work, and I know kind of what my day is going to look like. Then if something like happens, or you know, you're like more prepared for it. You're not just like going off of the whim and just going with the flow.
Right. Yeah, having a routine is very important. And like you said earlier, like if one of those things does change, just try to like go with the flow and change it a little bit to make your day feel better.
Yeah.
Number 2 is just make a plan or a list. I think that's definitely helped a lot with us.
I think people like, or I know personally with like anxiety and stuff, like I have to see it. Like I have to see what needs to be done. I have to know like what all actions I need to take, or like even with my like planner, it's like my daily planner is organized by like hours. So you can like block schedule. Like I know like this is what I'm doing, and it's just, I think for people whose brain like with anxiety is just like clustered all the time and just like going like 100 miles per hour. To see something that's like color coded, or like, you know, by time, like you can actually see it and like be like, this is what I actually need to do.
Yeah, mine is like a monthly and daily, and that does help a lot. And I have like all of our meals and like what I need to shop for on certain days, and it does help a lot.
Identify and avoid triggers. So that was one of our questions earlier, but just knowing like what triggers you to just go like to a downward spiral. Yeah. So like I know like on the weekends, if I spend the morning with my, or like if I'm like, oh, I have to go meet so and so for lunch, or like, and I don't really want to go or something, or like sometimes going over to like certain people's houses gives me anxiety or stuff like that. But you're like, oh, like we already have this plan, so I'm going to go. But then like to your mental health, that's not doing you any good, because you just get in a bad mood when you're there. And then when you leave, you're just in a worse mood. So like just identifying like maybe if you go certain places, that's a trigger, or if you see certain people, that's a trigger, or like sometimes if you don't check one thing off your box, like that could be a trigger,
Right.
because then you just think that you're like a failure,
right, and then eventually like your whole rest of your list is just fucked up.
Yeah.
One of like my triggers is sometimes it's just like social media.
Yeah.
Like you
I
see
hate
like
social
random
media.
stuff on there, and it's just like, that is so stupid, or
Mm-hmm.
like that's so drama, like why even do that? I just like, I've been staying off of it a whole lot.
One of my triggers with social media is like on like a Saturday morning, I'll be like at home and I'll just be scrolling on Instagram, and I see like all these other people that are like going to farmers markets or like going out for coffee and look super cute and like all this stuff, and I'm just like at home in my pajamas, and I'm just like, and then I think that puts me like in a depressed mood, so then I have no motivation to do anything, because I'm like, well, like why can't I be doing that? Why can't, but then it just like tricks your mind and you're just comparing it, and then you like just sit on the couch all day because you're like crying in your own pity, like
that does happen a lot too. I don't know, like my friends just got a new puppy and I'm just like, why can't I have another puppy? But like that's not on our goals, that's not exactly what we want to do.
Then it distracts you from like your whole other actual plan that you had for that day.
Right.
Yeah. My fourth tip is learn to say no, which I think for myself is super important. Like, I love hanging out with friends and family, and I think it is very good. But also, like, if you're drained, okay, so like I know for me, like some weeks I'll have like a super busy week at school or something, and I'm just like drained, and I still have like 4 homework assignments to do, or I still have to go grocery shopping and like do all the adult things. But then I feel bad if I say no to like my friends or something. But you just have to think like, I'm not being like the best. I'm not going to be in a good mood. I'm going to be tired. I'm not going to be like, you know, like I'm not going to be a joy to be around. So you
just look like,
I've
been around her like where she is
face.
drained. Yeah. And you just think that Maddie's super mad at everything.
But I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, no, I'm not mad. I'm just like, I don't know. But so you just have to think like, probably what's best for me is just to stay home and go to bed early, or like and then you don't have to be rude. You can just be like, oh, like I'm really tired. I'm really like had a long week, but like next weekend I would love to go get dinner or something like that.
Yeah. And that, it shouldn't be like a huge thing to say no when you don't want to do something. Right. And some people do make it a huge deal and make drama out of it, but it's like, no, I just literally don't feel good. I don't want to do that thing this time. So,
or I know it's like really easy for family to like guilt you, or you'll be like, oh, I'm like really sorry, like I'm really busy, like I can't meet, or I can't have lunch Saturday. But then they'll be like, well, we haven't seen you in forever, and we never see you, you never talk to us. And I'm like, well, I'm busy, like I'm not trying to like shove you out. I'm not trying to, ignore you, but like my life is just busy.
Right. And family, I think it's harder for them to understand because they were like pretty much your whole life back when you were younger. So it's hard for them to transition and realize that you do have your own life and your own friends and own people to hang out with. And that's hard. Yeah. But yeah, they just learn to say no. And check out episode 3, I think it is setting boundaries. We did talk about that a little bit and some tips and tricks about that. So go ahead and check that episode out. Number 5 is have less expectations for yourself. I think this is a big one, just like if you're setting too high goals in like short periods of time, and you just get disappointed about everything. It's
that's
just
how
hard.
I am. Like, I'll always put too much on my plate because I'm like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I have time to do this. Like, and then I'm just like drained, or then you feel like a failure if you didn't get to something. So like for me, I just have to like look and say, like I am only human. Like and you just have to like, don't like expect so much. Like just expect like, you know what? Like what you said earlier, like I'm going to wake up and I'm going to shower and I'm going to brush my hair and I'm going to look presentable for work, instead of just like throwing on a sweatshirt and a bun or something. But like that's something that like you did that, makes you productive and helps you have a good day. Like
that's one thing that you got done for the day.
And that should be like, you should be proud of that. You should be like, wow, I'm like happy that I straightened my hair today, or like that I put on some mascara. But like don't say like, oh, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna Or like, don't say I'm going to get up a half hour early and, you know, do a whole face of makeup and make breakfast. Because that's like, if that's not your reality that you do every day or your normal, like you're not going to do that. And then you're going to wake up, feel like a failure, and you're going to have a horrible day.
And it is fine to have like those goals, but just work yourself up to it. And you do have to almost practice those things.
I was listening to something, I forget what it was one day, but it said like, instead of saying like, oh, starting on Monday, I'm going to wake up at 5 when I normally wake up at 6:30. Instead of just doing that, you should do like, oh, this day I'm going to wake up at 6:15, and this day I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock, and this day I'm going to wake up. And you just slowly, instead of trying just to do this huge jump that your body's not ready for, that you're mentally not ready for, and then you're just kind of setting yourself up. And sometimes if you can do that and, you know, stick with that, that's great. Yeah. But a lot of times you just kind of need to slowly go into it.
Yeah. That's what I would do like summers, because I used to sleep in before we go back to school. And then I would be like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 9 this week, because I usually would wake up at like 10 or 11.
Right.
And I would just work myself up to that 6 or 7 o'clock. So I'd be ready for school.
Okay, so our next tip is to prioritize sleep. So I was listening to a girl I follow on Instagram. Her name is Jordan Lee Dooley. She's a really good person to follow. She has written a book before. But I was following her, or I was listening to her Instagram stories, and she was talking about how her dietitian told her that she needs to sleep more, because she's been going through like a whole bunch of hormonal things. They've been trying to like have a baby and stuff. So she's been going to a dietitian, and her dietitian was saying like your sleep like helps your body like recuperate and like to have a better, you know, next day. Like, and you can function off of 5 to 6 hours of sleep, but the recommended is like 8 to 9 hours. And then like on the weekends or something, like if you sleep more than 9 hours, you shouldn't feel bad about that. Like that's your body telling you like, I needed to sleep.
Yeah.
Cause like if you don't have enough sleep, like you're not going to be able to prioritize. You're not going to be able to process. You're not going to be able to like, you know, like
to feel productive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just going to feel like discombobulated. You're going to feel stressed. You're going to feel tired. Like nothing's going to work right.
Right.
So I think people should like, it should be okay. Like, for you to say like, I need to be in bed by 9 o'clock. Like if that's what you need to do, that should be okay.
I think I did read like a article one time, and like humans are not meant to sleep like a full like 8 to 10 hours at a time, but they're supposed to sleep from like sundown to sun up, and then like sporadic naps throughout the day. But in our reality, we can't do that. Like we have work, we have other things that we have to do. Right. So the 8 to 10 hours is like really helpful. And you know, when you just get to sleep in that one day a week and you just wake up and you're like, that was the best thing ever. Why do we not do this more? Right. But instead of like staying up late and watching TikToks for 2 hours, like you just need to go to bed and you'll feel a whole lot better.
And I think like something that has helped me is like I plug my phone in on my dresser now, and like so it's not even by my bed.
That probably is helpful.
So when I go and like lay in bed, like at least like then I don't have to like look at the bright light, or like I'm just scrolling. Like at least I don't have anything to look at, so I just sit there and eventually fall asleep. But
it probably helps you in the morning too. When your alarm goes off, you have to get up to turn it off.
That's why I started doing it. But I heard like try not to like look at your phone like a half hour or something before you want to go to bed, because the lights and just your mind, like you need to start like have a good nighttime routine.
For sure.
Like something I do, like if I have like school in the morning, I always like make sure my book bag has everything in it. My scrubs are like laid out. I have, you know, my like on my stove, I'll like lay out my medicine and my like coffee stuff. So it's just all like out. And then that makes me have like such a good morning and just go so smooth. So have a good nighttime routine, get some rest. That would be really important.
Yep. Alrighty. The next one is boundaries with work and life. So I think Maddie struggles with this a lot. Like she said, she likes a full plate with work and everything. I've seen her take on like cheerleading, coaching. What else have you like in working 2 jobs, and it's just craziness sometimes.
I can't tell you the last time I only worked 1 job. And then last fall I decided to try and coach my high school cheerleading team, which I loved, but the hours were so different. Like, it just, it couldn't work because I was like rushing from work to cheerleading to something else. And then
I think you felt bad too because you could never hang out with everybody.
And that's how, I don't know. I can't tell you last time I wasn't like that. Like, when I went to my bachelor's degree, I worked 3 jobs. I was an RA, I worked as an aide, and I worked at the bar. And I went to school full time, and I tried to have a life. And it just, like, I don't know. So I think boundaries, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing, like, boundaries need to be set.
Yeah.
Like, I need to know, like, so, like, now that I'm in school again for nursing, like, on the weekends are usually when I try and do, like, a lot of studying, or, like, because, like, TJ's not home because he works.
Right.
So I'll try and, like, do, like, studying, or, like, that's when I'll try and do my homework. So I think, like, Saturday mornings, like, my boundaries are, like, Saturday mornings I usually, like, sit at home and I'll just do homework, or I'll clean. So then I know, like, Saturday night I don't have to feel guilty or feel bad, like, if I go hang out with friends or, like, something. So, or, like, if you really do have something you need to do, like, you shouldn't feel bad for saying no, but also, like, make sure that it's actually like, a priority, or, like, you should try, and it's hard to, like, realize what your body needs and, like, what your body is telling you. Like, you may need to study, but you're, like, mentally cannot, or you're, like, exhausted. So, like, maybe a dinner with your girlfriends would be helpful.
Yeah. And I feel like for you, if you ever feel like you have free time, you're like looking up ways to fill it constantly.
Yeah, that's how I am. I cannot have free time. And it's so funny, like, my family's not like that, but TJ's dad is like that. Like, he can't ever be still. He has to always be doing something. And I think it's so funny because TJ's not like that.
Yeah.
But his dad's like that. And so, like, we just always have to be doing, like, I always have to be doing something, or have a task, or have a project, or which is how Nick is like.
Yes.
Like, we always have to be doing something.
That's why he has 20,000 hot little hobbies that he does. But he is constantly doing something. And then he also gets distracted very easily, which doesn't help. So he's already distracted with life.
That's
and then
how
he's
I
trying
am
to
too.
work.
Right.
And it's just hard. That balance is hard, work and life. So just trying, I think the biggest thing with that is just trying to figure out what your actual goals are in life, like long-term, short-term, and just staying on that path.
Right. That goes with our next point, which is prioritizing yourself and your needs before other needs, which I know is really hard for people, like, especially like you. Like, you are such a people pleaser and you love to make people happy, but, like, trying hard. And I don't even know if I'm really good at it, or, like, we all could probably use help in it. Just prioritizing, like, what your body needs and what you truly need and want. And don't just, like, go out to a bar because your friend wants you to go. Like, if you don't want to go and you're not happy, like, don't go.
Yeah.
You're just going to be miserable. You're just,
And I, like, felt awful because I didn't, like, go to your birthday, but I was just, like, couldn't. I mentally was just not there. And I wasn't feeling good.
But, like, good friends, like, I was like, yeah, that's, like, that's fine. But, like, if people make you feel bad for setting boundaries or prioritizing yourself and your future and your life, like, they're not the right people for you.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Next one is just self-care. So just take time, make sure that you are taken care of. And I know this is hard, especially for moms, because you actually do have to take care of your kids first before you do. I remember when I first had Wyatt, like, I wasn't eating because I was trying to figure out how to take care of this little baby. And you just, you're breastfeeding and you're trying to figure that out, and you're changing their diaper every 2 hours. You literally
forget about your own self.
You literally, and you're just not sleeping because they just wake up every so often because they need something, and it's so hard. And then you're trying to teach them as they're getting older, and sometimes I just need, like, a break. So I'll just, like, Nick, today is your day, dude. Like, this is on you today, because I just can't. I need, like, time to myself.
Right.
So make sure if you don't have that dad there, just reach out to a friend or family member and be like, hey, I just need a day to take care of myself.
Or, like, even, like, I know sometimes, like, I'll come over here or something, and, like, I love coming over here and, like, helping with Renly or, like, stuff, and, like, I give you a little break to just be able to actually do, like, clean or like do the, you know, like when you're
Yeah.
cooking dinner or something. Like I think friends like should do that. Like friends should be helpful.
I appreciate
Or
that
just,
so
like,
much too.
yeah.
And like when we went to a party yesterday to one of our friends' house, and like they were so comfortable just like having us set up our pack and play and letting
Right.
Renly sleep there. And they would like keep an eye on them if I had to go run and get them a plate of food or whatever. Like I can
Right.
count on all my friends to make sure that my kids are taken care of while I'm
Right.
around them.
Right. Because we also like want you to not be stressed, and we want you to
Right.
like, you know, and have fun and stuff. I think what's important in self-care is like realizing what everyone's self-care I think is different. Like the
Yeah.
things that like find what you truly enjoy. Like I love going to get a pedicure.
Yeah.
So like the other day I had work off and I was like, you know what? Like I deserve a pedicure. I'm going to go to a pedicure.
Got that stimmy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I use for. And I like took my book that I started reading and just got a pedicure, and like it was so nice. So, or like sometimes I love taking the dogs on a walk by myself.
Yeah.
Because it's like silent, they don't talk, so it's just like a silent, nice like 20-minute walk with just fresh air, like your own thoughts, like you can just, you
You
know,
can think about whatever you want to think about in that moment. And, yes. And sitting and just like drinking coffee on
Right.
Sunday mornings. That's so nice.
I love that, like putting on the news or something, like, and you're just sipping coffee and you're, or like when COVID first started, like I would play church all the time, or like something like that, or just music,
Right.
or like sometimes my self-care is cleaning. Like if I'm feeling stressed, I love to deep clean.
Yeah.
And like sometimes TJ will come home and I'll have like the house kind of destroyed because I'm like deep cleaning, so I have everything like pulled out of the closet or like stuff like that, and he's like, what is going on? And I was like, I can't sleep, like I need to clean or something. So I think just like self-care looks different every day, and just realizing like
What you need.
yeah.
For sure. Next one is just fuel your body. So exercise, food, family, and your friends. And that's hard too, because there are those days where you just feel like laying in bed and not doing anything, but
Yeah, I
doing
know like
anything.
some days or something like this past week I was like really in a bad mood or something, or like yesterday morning I was like in a super bad mood and I literally didn't want to do a single thing. And like Friday I was in a bad mood all day Friday, like, and like we had a girls dinner on Friday and I was like in my head I was like, I want to cancel, like I don't want to go because I just want to go home and like lay in my bed and not do anything. But I was like, I can't do that, like that would not be good for me, and like I can't. But like there are days like that where you're just like in a super depressed mood and you just want to cancel everything, you don't want to look at anyone, you don't want to talk to anyone, like.
Yep.
So it is hard when you have bad days like that or something, but just make sure that you're like prioritizing, like if you know, okay, so like if I have anxiety, depression, ADHD, whatever, like I know that exercise helps.
Right.
And my doctor was like, you should just go walk, go take a 20-minute walk. And like if you can't exercise, if you can't go do heavy lifts, like literally just take a 20-minute walk,
Right.
you know, just move your body, just move in any type of way. And I think that's so important. Or like I like take your dogs on a silent walk, or play a podcast, play some music, like and then food, like I know when I'm feeling really depressed or I'm having like a really anxious day or I'm rushing from work to class, you know, I'm gonna stop at McDonald's and get a cheeseburger or something.
You like stress eat.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do that so bad. And so I think that goes along with planning. Like make sure you plan you know what your day is going to kind of look like. So have some snacks in your car or something, like, and just make sure that it's like, because you're not going to perform well and you're not going to be in a good mood if you're putting bad food. And I'm not saying like I don't eat bad food because, you know, whatever, but like
we all have those days.
Right. But like make sure that you're like fueling your body for what you want it to do. Like if you want to have a good day and you want to be in a good mood and you don't want to be tired or sluggish, like fuel your body. And then I think so, like yesterday I took a really long walk with my brother and his girlfriend and their baby, and it was so nice, and I was not stressed about like all the stuff I still had to do at home or like things like that, right? Because it was just like it's fueling my body. Like that time with your family can be so good for the soul, like it's so good. But also make sure that you're not like doing it when you
don't want to.
Right.
I think that is helpful too. And I love hanging out with just like friends or like, sometimes I'll just like think about that time like all week long because I'm like so excited for it. And then you have those days where you're just like, oh, I was excited about this, but now I don't feel like going. But you go anyways and you're like, good.
Yeah,
I'm
like
glad
I was so
did it.
glad I went on Friday, but I just I was just in a really depressed mood all day. Like I just was in a bad mood, and so I was like, I'm not gonna be any fun. I don't really want to go. But then I was like, no, I need to go because I need to like vent or like whatever, talk and stuff. So I think it's just important, like when you're thinking about your week, making sure you're not overstressing yourself. Make sure you're realizing like what your actual priorities are. Like work is a priority. Exercising for some can be a priority, or that you have dinner on Wednesday. Making sure you prioritize, but also like block out some time. Like, oh, I'm just gonna chill at home and read a book or watch TV or do whatever. But make sure that you're like actually just like focusing on yourself and don't feel bad. And I know it's hard, and because I mean, like, we all still feel bad. Like, we're not perfect at this, but like, don't feel bad when you have to say no or set boundaries.
Yeah. With the food thing, we've done really well, especially over this past year with COVID. I think that helps, but we haven't been really going out to eat unless it's like a special occasion or so I make sure to plan like our weekly meals all the way out. And I know Nick gets like annoyed if it's like a super complicated meal, but I love like just cooking with him, and like I'll get all the ingredients out and like pass him what he needs while he's cooking, or we'll do vice versa. And that's so fun to me, and I absolutely love it. And then we'll have like easy meal nights, and then we'll have more time like together with the kids. And or there's just some nights where I'm like, oh God, I am not cooking. Like tonight is night the night. So we'll just like order takeout real quick. And making sure that food is good. It gets annoyed because I like I've been getting like healthier snacks. So I'll get like nuts instead of chips.
Yeah.
He's like, what are all these like weird snacks that we're getting? I'm like, it's healthier for like everyone.
Right.
And it's just so helpful, and you feel so much better eating that kind of food.
I know. That's how. So I was my like I have IBS. Like 2 years ago, I think is when my doctor told me about it, and like we were talking about it, and she gave me like a whole list of foods that I shouldn't be eating and things like and I was like, oh, I'm 21, like I don't need to do that. And now I'm like, I'm 24, like I want to start having kids, and I want to like be able to do all these things, and I don't want to feel uncomfortable when we go out to dinner with friends or like stuff like that. So I'm like, wow, I really need to like actually focus on that, because that what I'm eating is changing my mood. Because if I eat something I'm not supposed to do, then I feel like shit, and then I'm in a bad mood. I feel like a lot of people
don't realize that. Like, food is definitely
and literally
helping.
Is fueling your body. Like, if you want to be in a good mood, you need to eat nutritious foods. Like, every food has a nutrients that you need. Yeah. Even if it's like fats. Like, you need fats. Yeah. Like healthy fats. You don't need like fried food fats. But it's hard with us because like TJ does not eat. Like, he's such a picky eater, and I don't know where he came from, because his parents are not picky. Yeah. But he's so picky, so it's hard. So sometimes, like, I'll cook. I love cooking. I wish I would do it more, but I don't prioritize that. So I just like run out of time or like, things like that. But I love cooking. So I'll cook a meal that is healthy, and then he'll sit there and he'll pick out everything. And he'll just eat the meat and like potatoes and stuff. And I'm like, well, that's that's good for you, whatever. And that's just how we do it. And sometimes he will try certain stuff or whatever, but it is really important. I go to bed feeling better if I eat a good meal. I wake up feeling better. I don't feel like bloated and gross and
just like your stomach hurts.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I think that's it for all of our tips today. Make sure to go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. And then let's go ahead and rate our wine today, Maddie. So again, it's like the 2019 Freak Show Chardonnay wine. It was friggin' bomb.
I think it's really good. Yeah, I think it's really good too.
I would say 9.
Yeah, I would say 9 as well. I want to get the rest of them. We were looking at it. There's like a whole circus theme, like wines, and you got this at Costco, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I want to go get the rest because this one is really good.
Yeah, and I didn't see the rest, but they probably have them over there.
Or you can just order them probably, but I thought it was really good. I really liked it. I'd give it a 9 too. This was probably one of my favorites that we've had. You can definitely taste like the peachiness to it, or like the apricot. It's a little more on the drier side, which me and you both like, but also like the fruity and
Yeah.
And so I think it's really good.
It's super citrusy and just a little bit. They also have like a Cabernet, a Zinfandel. I
That's
don't
like
say
a
that wine very well, but
Zinfandel. It's like a white Zin, or it's like a. It's
Isn't it
more
like
of
a
a
rosé
sweet.
almost?
Yeah.
And then they have a red wine, all in this like freak showy, like circus theme. And I think we definitely should check them out. Alrighty, guys. But I just want to thank everyone for listening. We really appreciate it today. Definitely check out the setting boundaries episode too, if you want to look into like saying no or setting boundaries. There will be links in the description below to like our Facebook group, some things we have talked about, the wine we tried today, the Instagram that she was mentioning. Alrighty, but thank you guys so much for joining us, and go ahead and subscribe to us. We'll
Thanks,
see you guys
guys.
next week. Bye.